listening to the Chartographers.
You are listening to the Chartographers. It is a music-loving podcast from music-loving people. We take every single album by a particular artist, rank it worst to first, and we are in the part 2 of our Stevie Wonder journey. Me, Evan Sadi, co-creator Taran O'Reilly, special wonderful guest graphic designer and singer-songwriter Nia O'Reilly Amandes. I don't want to say Avantes for some reason. I have no idea.
Say Avantes.
Avantes.
Nia O'Reilly Cervantes.
For part 2, I'm taking on a new character, Stevie style.
Exactly. Yeah, one of your characters. So, anywho, yeah, we ranked a lot of peak era Stevie Wonder. We're doing 1970 to 1987, and of the 12 albums that we had, we ranked 8 of them, which is pretty incredible, which leaves us now down to an incredible top 4. If you want to know our thoughts on the other 8 albums, please go back and listen to the part 1 episode, because we will not be talking about them here, except tangentially. And, yeah, Taran has a lot of thoughts and feelings he wants to get out right now. For anything else, though, let's talk about the 4 albums that we do have left, which are 1972's Talking Book, 1973's Intervisions, 1974's Fulfillingness's First Finale, and 1976's Songs in the Key of Life.
Okay, so do you remember, Evan, on our Madonna episode when we were talking about all these albums that had like really tall heights and then like really low lows, and we were like, yeah, but there's all this bad shit, and so we ended up ranking them, and we totally forgot about Bedtime Stories, which is one of the most boring albums we've ever had on the show, and it somehow ended up at 7 out of 14. I feel like Fulfillingness's First Finale just pulled that, because like we talked about a couple albums.
For the album of the year.
Yeah, who gives a shit? The Grammys make terrible.
He won a Grammy for Women in Red.
Well, he won an Oscar. He won an Oscar for Women in Red.
I also think he also won a Grammy too.
And that is number 12 out of 12 on our list. No, but like the thing is, we just put down, I won't say what order, but Hotter Than July, Science You Delivered, and Music of My Mind. We just ranked them, but like they all have really good songs on them. On Fulfillingness's First Finale, we have Boogie on Reggae Woman, possibly my favorite Stevie Wonder song.
Oh, wow.
Just absolutely, it's funky as shit.
Okay.
He's having such a great time. He kind of goes on to his voices a little bit, but it's so great, and it's just, I mean, that is what I come to Stevie Wonder for. And then you have the rest of this album, which is basically just sadness.
The whole rest? Come on.
Okay, I mean,
Terrence just wants to jump out the gate with all this stuff right here. Notice he wasted no time before we got to any part of it.
because the whole time we were on break, I was just sitting there going, "We made a mistake." Not the whole rest of the album, but you get what I'm saying. I really love It Ain't No Use.
It Ain't No Use is so goddamn good.
But then there's just a lot of like, no, I'm not gonna say filler because it's not quite down to that level, but especially in comparison to the other albums we have left, Fulfillingness's First Finale just doesn't quite stand up.
I think I agree with you. I'll say about this album that like this is one that before this week I did not really know, and it did the thing where the first track is, to me, the first track is fucking great. Like, I thought...
Smile Please?
Yeah, Smile Please really drew me in. Like, you know when you listen to something and the first time you listen it's good? Like, that's a big deal. Like, that doesn't happen all the time.
Correct.
Like,
some of these things are build and they work and they entice and surprise, yeah.
To grow
But
on.
that song was one where I was like, wait, what is this called? Like, and I've listened to it so many times since then. I got that on vinyl, coincidentally. I only buy used vinyl, so you have to find it. But I found that one. And Smile Please, I think, is amazing. And it made me kind of fall in love with this album, but maybe it's, a new love that has clouded my judgment about some of the others that we already ranked. But I think Heaven is 10 Zillion Light Years Away is a great song. And You Haven't Done Nothing I really like that song.
Oh, yes. Okay. You Haven't Done Nothing is a great song. It was number 1, though, which kind of blows my mind. And I think it got there because it's a rewrite of Superstition with a good horn hook. It's...
Jackson 5 doing the backing vocals.
It's...
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. There's actually quite a few little, like, guest vocal surprises on here.
Okay.
Minnie Riperton, who, loving you is easy when you're beautiful.
Isn't that Maya Rudolph's mom?
Yes, that is correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, tying it all into Saturday Night Live, which Stevie once hosted. But yeah, he apparently did. I don't know how that worked or how good he was, but he was the musical guest and the host apparently one time. It may have been an earlier season when hosting was kind of a. Not at the role that it is today.
Yeah.
But who knows? He is funny, though. We will say in all the other interviews and other press materials that we've watched this
funny.
Oh my
week.
god, I
And weird.
can't wait to talk about him speaking gibberish to the pasta that was woven into his guitar player's hair, but we will get there later.
Yeah.
Wait.
I know. And also, Too Shy to Say is honestly kind of a striking little number for
Really?
me.
Because
Yes,
I
it
think
was.
it's really basic.
I thought it was a nice... But the thing is that... Okay, so Taran jumped right into it with no context. Let's give a little bit more context before we talk about this here. The biggest thing about this
Sorry.
is that... we're very much talking about kind of his peak era, and these 4 albums were released all against each other. This is in a quick succession. And while some people say that Music of My Mind was the start of his classic era, Talking Book for a lot of people is like that was his commercial breakthrough. The number 1 started really hitting into the modern Stevie.
And his artistic breakthrough.
Absolutely.
That's when you think about the Stevie Wonder sound. That obviously he's put out tons of records, but the sound that people associate with Stevie Wonder is Talking Book through Songs in the Key of Life.
Absolutely.
What we have left.
No question. And Inner Visions was very much him taking, instead of while Talking Book is very much a personal pop album and the mainstream breakthrough they needed, Inner Visions is very much an album statement. It is a wholly cohesive work in and of itself. And therefore, because it won the Grammy for Album of the Year, it was very political, it was very social, it was very funky, and it told all these great stories and attached it to great pop melodies. And there's a whole thing we could talk about of how Stevie Wonder, he was the sole artist that still played around with the pop paradigm, and he did a great job. He knew he had a white audience along with a black audience as well. He'd crossover appeal, and he would smuggle in these very hard to hear messages sometimes into these undeniably funky songs. And so the biggest thing is that fulfilling this as first finale feels like such an odd duck of these 4 albums. Someone called it the 4 classic albums that remain, because it is a step back, because it is not necessarily this wholly cohesive thing. It is very much a personal album. It is very much... Go ahead.
Well, and I was just going to say, even though there are songs that we've mentioned on here that are, solid, great Stevie Wonder songs, there's nothing here that is pushing the envelope as much as the other 3 albums we have left. There's so much innovation happening in the early 70s with Stevie that fulfilling this as first finale is just it's an odd man out. Because
Right.
there are so many ballads here, which also, I didn't even put this together until today, but this was the album he put out right after he was in a car accident that put him in a coma for 4 days.
Whoa.
And then he, came out of the coma, finished his tour, and then started working on this record. So, when you look at it through that lens, it's sort of I'm sure his worldview changed a little bit. So he wasn't in this, inner visions, spiritual place. He kind of had to find that again.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
mean, I would say, of the 4 we're still talking about, it's clearly the lowest.
Yes.
Mhm.
And rightfully so. I think, there's a... Like we've said a bunch, there's a lot of great songs. There's a handful of great songs. But, as a package, it's not the best one of those, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it's not better than some of the ones already ranked. I think
Yeah.
that's what you're throwing out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, and the more I sit with it, the more with how we ranked the ones that are there already, the only one that I would want to be higher is Signed, Sealed, Delivered, but that doesn't make a ton of sense at number 4 either. So let's just leave what we had. The more I sit with it, the more
Yeah.
I'm
All right.
as much as I don't necessarily think this is...
It's not your ranking.
It's not my ranking, but I also, I don't necessarily want any of the other ones to be higher, if that makes
Right.
sense.
And the other thing, too, I feel the part of the reason why there is that hesitance, and part of the reason I think you feel that way, is because fulfilling this it's very much, because it's sandwiched between these other albums, it's so interesting, because say what you will about Music of My Mind, Talking Book was a brilliant expansion upon that. Intervisions is a brilliant expansion upon that. And Fulfilling This First Finale, it's not an expansion, it's a sequel. It's not necessarily thematically a sequel, but in terms of texture, in terms of the tools that he had available, in terms of songwriting, it is very much a continuation there is. So maybe he's exploring a couple different new themes or anything else like that, but the step between this and the opus that is Songs in the Key of Life are completely different. This is just very much a second iteration of what he was doing on Intervisions.
Yeah, and I think that just the last thing to say about this record is that it has multiple moments where I'm sitting there, I'm listening to it, and I want to like it more than I do.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
Where,
ran into that a lot.
I'm like, the structure, the foundation of a classic all-timer Stevie Wonder song is here, but I don't know if it's like the vocal melody or if the groove just isn't quite as powerful as I'm expecting it to be, but this album just like doesn't quite get there a couple of times. Like when you're listening to like Creepin', it's like could have been incredible, or like Bird of Beauty. Bird of Beauty, like I really like it.
It's
starts
so almost
it starts and I'm like really excited, and then we just doesn't.
Feels like it's going to be a funk
It doesn't
break.
quite take me there.
Yeah. But then again, we also, I mean, that was one of the nice things, a discussion we had this week as well. We were dealing with all these 6-7 minute songs of his, and there's a lot of 6-7 minute songs in this discography. Sometimes they grow and expand, and other times they just repeat.
Keep going, yes.
And as Taran talked about, that's probably one of his biggest weaknesses. I mean, the whole idea of a groove is that you write it, is that something that you enjoy coming back to time and time again. And there are some artists that can make 12-minute grooves easy, and you're in it, and you're there. The biggest thing is that he doesn't necessarily know how to resolve a groove. Like, he finds it, he rolls with it, and, you know, there's verse, chorus. He's not really a bridge guy. He's really not when it comes to, like,
It's true.
songwriting.
I realized that
Yeah.
after I said it earlier. I was like, there aren't a ton of bridges.
You know.
He doesn't bring in that, like, third melodic structure. He may bring in a new instrument.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that's what changes. But the bass groove and the vocal melodies just keep repeating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would totally agree. Some of his long songs. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where you're like, at a certain point, his producers or he's producing a lot, but the other people he's working with, he can't mess up. He can't do wrong. So him continuing to play for 7 minutes the same thing, no one's going to be like, it's really redundant.
Right, yeah.
Well, especially because if they were going to put it out as a single, I'm sure they were going to do a single cut anyway that's like 4.5 minutes. So as far as the album is concerned, he's Stevie fucking Wonder. I mean, I'm mostly talking about Songs of the Key of Life at this point. He's Stevie Wonder, and he's just won Album of the Year 2 albums in a row.
Yeah.
And so when he's going into Songs in the Key of Life and he has all these 8-minute jams...
Who are you to tell him no?
Who literally, Berry Gordy doesn't even have the authority to tell him no at this point because he's at the top of his game, and you don't want to. Because what if that 8-minute jam is iconic, and some of them are. You know, when you're talking about like when you're talking about Another Star.
Don't even talk about those yet.
I know. We'll get there.
All right. In the meantime, though, let's go ahead. Let's put Fulfilling This' First Finale at number 4 on our ranking. So, guys, that means we are down to 3 Stevie Wonder albums in the top slots. That is Talking Book. That is Intervisions. That is Songs in the Key of Life. And Nia, I don't know about you, but amazingly, it's pretty obvious what number 3 is to me.
It's very obvious to me.
Oh, okay. Let's count to 3 and let's say the name of the album at the same time. Okay. Let's do it. Just you and me. Just you and me. Okay. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Talking Book. Are you kidding
I wanted to count 1, 2, 3, and you counted 3.
I know.
1,
I realized that. I was lost in the moment.
Yeah,
exactly.
sorry.
Talking about Intervisions. Oh no!
All right. Well, we just talked about 2 albums. Let's talk about them in sequential order. Let's talk about Talking Book first.
Okay.
So first off, did you know that you are the sunshine of my life?
Oh.
In terms of album openers, though, since I know
Weird.
that's something, yeah, a
So
little
weird.
So weird. So like when I finally looked at, so you know how like you were a child and you didn't Google things, but like now you're an adult and you're like, oh yeah, I should Google that. Like I finally was like, who sings that and why is it two different people who sing the opening lines of this song? And I was like, it must be someone like really important. And I don't know, maybe they're just people, I don't know. I didn't know them. And I was like, why? What?
Right.
You start your album. This is Talking Book is such an amazing album. And it starts with 2 lines of You Are the Sunshine of My Life, sung by a man and a woman, neither of which is Stevie Wonder. And that's the opener of the album. It's a weird choice.
It's a very odd choice.
Like, do you know who they are? Is it just me? Am I missing something important?
I didn't realize that the man wasn't him.
It's not him.
Because then after those 2 lines, it is him, right?
Yes. That's the only time it's them. I mean, maybe they sing backup or something, but like, they're not featured again.
No, because I realized we watched a live performance of this. And yeah, like his backing vocalists, like he had like, 2 men, 3 women in a line singing backing vocals, and one of the men sang the first line, one of the women sang the second line, and then he sings the rest. And
Jim Gilstrap and Laney Grooves.
So they aren't even like common collaborators.
First
with him.
of all,
it's not
they're
even
both
like Sarita.
clearly fake people.
Laney Grooves.
Come on. What was it? Chinstrap?
Gilstrap.
Gilstrap, right? Yes, Jim Chinstrap.
Jim Chinstrap.
In popular culture, in 2016, Jack White performed an alternative rock version of the song with the Muppets for the series finale of The Muppets.
That sounds cute.
Cool. Anywho, but like,
Thanks,
aside
Evan.
from that, though,
Yes.
then you have the rest of the, I mean, the thing is that when you talk about this is basically his commercial breakthrough, this is when the Stevie Wonder that we always knew could make great modern Stevie pop singles, he just shows the fuck up. Because, I mean, it doesn't need to be said, but Superstition, that goddamn incredible line, and the things that we all remember, that exact synth tone, we can hear it in our heads, but think about the horns that are doing the goddamn work on here.
Also, though, this is 1972.
Right.
That's the thing that because I just kind of assumed, not thinking about it, that Superstition was on Songs in the Key of Life. Like, because
everything is.
right, because everything is, but also just because it's so timeless.
Yeah.
Like, Superstition sounds like it could have come out in 2018. I always forget until I'm looking at the year just how immensely impactful and influential Superstition, I mean, this whole album, but Superstition specifically was, as far as like shaping the sound of the 70s and 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just, like, that was where I think a lot of people realized for the first time, like, oh, you can take synths and make them so much more than just like this blurbly, like, shitty strings in the background. Like, you can really take this and make something
so funky,
incredible out of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean,
there's also the hits, right? Or You Were the Sunshine of My Life, Superstition. I Believe When I Fall in Love. Was that a radio?
I don't know, but I fucking love it.
It
wasn't even a single.
Yeah.
Which blows my mind because it is stunning.
So beautiful.
I mean, that's definitely like up there, one of my favorite Stevie songs, but even more than that, my favorite song on this record is Big Brother.
Oh, yeah. And that is like a potent little number in there.
Yeah.
He is not afraid to speak.
I mean, and it's also still quite relevant. The last line is, I don't even need to do anything to you. You'll destroy your country yourself.
Yeah, and then all he's talking, I mean, it's a song that he feels a Big Brother in the Orwell type of sense, but also talks about, like, the only time you come around is when it's a voting year, or something like that. You know, like, he's just, like, laying it the fuck out.
It's 1972. I mean, this is very pointed at Nixon at this point, too. Like,
so are you that surprised that You Haven't Done Nothing became the hit that it was? Like, I feel like he especially have found a degree of protest pop that was, like, working. And he also does it again at the end of Intervisions with He's Mr. Know-It-All, and I think less successfully on that song, personally.
Yeah, I don't know that song.
Exactly.
I also, Talking Book also has You and I, which I super love as far as ballads go. That, which also does that octave jump.
Yeah.
which is so good, so effective.
But I gotta be honest, the biggest surprise for me this week when it comes to Talking Book, and the thing is, I will say, like, I don't think Tuesday Heartbreak's gonna be anyone's, like, all-time favorite.
I really like it, though.
song. But for me, this week, Maybe Your Baby just knocked me the fuck out.
That song is funky as hell. It's so good.
That song kept getting stuck in my head this week.
Yeah.
You know, regardless of what album I had just listened to, when I was just like walking around at work, what I was humming was Maybe Your Baby.
Maybe your baby have made some other plan.
So that's a song that, like, I would love to do that song. Like, there's not, Stevie's amazing, but there's, like, not a lot that I would even attempt.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But man, that would be fun to do.
Well, and that's the thing where, like, this became, like, this is exactly what you wanted the rest of Music of My Mind to be, because that funk is so thick. And when that fucking Ray Parker Jr. guitar comes in, like, and it's just, like, all these instruments just kind of building up together and swelling into this deep groove, it's like, you feel like you're just in it. It's just thick, and it's just like, my God.
Very sexy.
And it's so
it is
sexy.
Oh my
God.
it's
especially
sexy
because it's about infidelity.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's about, like,
which comes
your
up a lot in
baby's
this
out
era.
with another man.
Yeah.
And she's having a funky, sexy time out there. Like,
It's and it's funny too, coming out of, like, the sweetness of You Are the Sunshine of My Life.
Mm-hmm.
That, so, like, as a 1-2 knockout for the intro of an album, to start with, like, this very sweet song, which is such a big hit, and then to just, like, break it down funk style with Maybe Your Baby, like, what an amazing. And then the third track is You and I, which is, like, a gorgeous ballad.
mm-hmm.
That's an amazing
stretch.
I mean, honestly, this album is just so solid.
Yeah.
Like, I have no complaints about the first 7 tracks. And even after that, I don't really have complaints. They're just not...
Yeah, just
not,
blame it on the sun. It's like, it's there.
But even, like, honestly, that's the only, like, meh song on here. I love Looking for Another Pure Love. Again, it's just, like, it's a very, like, easy going, just, like, it's not a ballad because it's more of a jam session.
Yeah.
But those, like, the harmony vocals on there are amazing. You've Got It Bad Girl, which is probably the least, like, Stevie Wonder song on here, because it's just, you got it bad girl. That's like
Old school Motown.
Bread could have recorded that.
It's
you know?
very easy listening, but it's
Totally.
easy. It's not like, it doesn't cringe. It doesn't make you cringe. It's just nice.
But then you get to Intervisions.
Okay, let's hear it. I don't hate Intervisions, of course. This is the last 3. I also
Exactly.
love
Yeah, I know.
But we don't hate anything yet.
I know, exactly, because Intervisions, I feel like it just kind of like, it's an expansion on it. It gets a little bit more visceral. It's a little bit more funky. Like, the thing is, Superstition is a great standalone pop single, but Higher Ground, like, the levels and the builds and all the aspects of it, like, it's such a mature, incredible composition.
I could possibly argue that no other song he ever recorded has better momentum than Higher Ground.
Okay.
Like, Higher Ground just keeps on trucking, and it just, like...
Keeps on trucking.
I mean... But also, I love Too High as an opener, because
Really?
Yes, I do, and it's weird. It's weird, because... I'm a little biased because that was reworked into my favorite Royksop song, which is top 10 favorite songs of all time. So that, like, bass line specifically, like, really...
It ignites your soul.
It ignites my soul.
Yeah.
And I love how he's just not afraid to play with jazz, and it also just shows you... It shows you exactly, like, the kind of... You are in for a wild ride.
Which this album absolutely is.
But I also... As much as it has, like, a couple of my absolutely all-time... Like, Jesus Children of America is so funky. And it's so unafraid to just, like, say what it's here to say. Mm-hmm. Which I think, you know, in 1973, Jesus Children of America was, like... That's a fucking bold statement. And
this
the fact
is a
that he
very
didn't...
bold album.
Yeah. But it also, in contrast to the other... Well, we'll talk about Songs in the Key of Life in a minute. But there's some meh balladry on
All
here.
in Love is Fair.
All in Love is Fair. Visions.
Yeah.
Honestly, and then
That's like it at that point, because then you have Living for the City,
Yeah, I
which
mean,
is
Yeah.
just,
That's
incredible.
classic.
well, now it's one of those songs that's like now you've heard that song 100 times, but if you could go back in time and listen to it for the first time again,
Goodness.
it's like extremely powerful.
Mhm.
Like I was listening to that today, and I don't usually listen to the spoken part because it's not music, but like, and I don't like skits that much in songs,
Yeah.
but I was really listening to the whole album, and the spoken, it's fucking intense. It's
Yeah.
a really sad, intense song.
It is, and it's married to this beat that's a lot more optimistic than it leads you to believe. And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the thing, like, he understood if you're gonna swallow this pill of, like, hard truth or difficult things to say, he's gonna wrap it up in something real nice.
Well, I also think it's a similar thing that he tried to do on Village Ghetto Land, but that was just such a different
It's almost too
atmosphere.
obvious, that, too. Where, like,
Yes.
he's talking about the ghetto, people bleeding and dying, you're setting it to a classical do-do-do.
Right, whereas like
exactly.
Living for the City is like, you think it's just another great Stevie Wonder jam. You're hearing the hook, but then you're listening to the verse lyrics and you're like,
Oh no, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it takes you through. It's a whole story.
And Golden Lady,
Golden
honestly.
Lady. I mean,
yeah.
Don't you worry about a thing. Like,
Don't you worry about it.
that is candy. That
I mean,
song is just delicious.
That's
like,
fucking loves singing that song.
Yeah.
He does the octave jump there,
Yeah,
and
that's-
it's so effective.
So
and
good.
that's like
and the intro, like, talk about a goofy
do,
moment
do,
that comes
do,
off.
do.
Like,
exactly
lyrics.
right.
Yeah,
It's
this little, like,
hilarious.
Latin beat that kind of comes
Like-
in. Yeah.
At first,
Iran.
Paris, Peru, Eurasia, and like at first you're like, those aren't Spanish places, but then you're like, oh wait, this is funny.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Okay.
One of the only times he plays a character and it works.
I just love how it's like, ding, 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 and then he just says a lot of really fast Spanish, and you're like, whoa, what's happening? Oh, okay, we're going on a
And then
journey.
it leads into just this goddamn great melody. Like, it's just like, it's such a good song. Right.
It's a great song.
I just love, this was the era when he was just unafraid to find a great melody, and he's like, I don't need to add more words to this. Let's just...
Yeah. And I feel like with Music on My Mind, that's when he started to realize the power of editing, too, where he's just like, I don't have to have all the instruments. I can pull
Right.
back a little bit. And that's part of the reason why, for me personally, it was so obvious that Talking Book was number 3, just because it's one of the things, like, Talking Book is, I would argue, a great end-to-end pop album. I don't think there's any denying that whatsoever. It is a series of masterful songs, and we could say, in some cases, masterful singles. I would say Inner Visions, it does, let's say, on the whole, has maybe a few more weaker tracks or a few more middling tracks or whatever, but I can't deny the sheer vision of this motherfucker right here. The thing about Inner Visions that's so striking is the boldness, the artistry, everything he does has been jumped up a notch, and it pays off immense dividends. Where, like, I feel like this is, the person who made Talking, he couldn't have made Inner Visions without Talking Book, but thank God he made Talking Book, because Inner Visions just feels like an elevated form of funk, an elevated form of pop that is just so much more beyond the typical, so much more beyond what radio or critics or anyone else was ever able to comprehend at the time.
Yeah,
You know?
and that's where this is a really close race for me too. But for me, Inner Visions has a little bit of the edge, just because even though it has more songs that I'll skip, I'll just say that.
Yeah.
It also, the funk that he lays down here is just that little bit more complex, and it's just that little bit more like there's just a tinge more that's keeping your attention on every single one of the great tracks.
I will say this. I think of them as the same album. Like, this
Yeah.
is one where I spent a lot... That's why, like, I was, like, ready with my answer. Because I really had to spend a lot of time being like, okay, separate these two.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they came out so close together. They're not songs in the key of life. But, like, so they were kind of smashed together in my mind. So I really had to think about it and why. But at the same time, I'm happy to concede. They're both fucking great. I think Too High is just not my style. And as you know, first tracks are very important to me.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
that, I think that sounds boring. Like, it's fine, but compared to, you know, the first 3 tracks of Talking
See,
Book.
but ever since you mentioned it, I've just had that bass line stuck in my head. Like, this whole time we've been talking doo-doo.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, just the kind of rising action.
I mean, it's good.
Yeah.
None of this is bad. That's the thing.
Right.
Yeah.
None of maybe
But-
I really don't like
but
this
here's
Mr. Know-It-all, but
I don't.
Right, no,
I,
me neither.
I don't
That's
like it,
why, yeah.
and that's why I'm honestly fine with this going either way, because Talking Book is a more solid listening experience, but Intervisions
It's
is
a bolder
more
album.
innovative.
Yeah. But that being said, can we talk about the big Grammy in the middle of the room here? In terms of opening songs, Love's in Need of Love Today.
Here's my story about this song. Wait, are we getting into this
I just
now?
want to talk about it right now.
Yeah.
Songs of the Key of Life is the best Stevie Wonder album. It's right? Like,
Let's talk about it.
let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay. My introduction to this album was, so, you know, CDs came out in our childhood, blah blah blah, and then like we got a record player again later. So old albums kind of came out in the household, and I came downstairs one morning, and my mom was listening to "Love's in Need of Love Today," the first track from Songs in the Key of Life, sweeping the kitchen and crying and singing all at the same time.
Oh my God.
And I was never forgot it. Like, it's the most beautiful sentiment. It's such a beautiful song, and talk about an introduction to like one of the best albums ever. It's so gorgeous.
I also just love that this album just starts with humming.
Yeah.
Like, what a just like you. Even though, you know, obviously it has very intense and like fast upbeat moments on it later, like it just eases you in. It's like, we're gonna just talk about the basic, like the most universal thing possible, love. And let's
How
just,
often do you cry on this podcast?
I
Like,
don't think
honestly.
we've ever cried on the
Yeah.
podcast.
I would cry like every time I did this podcast.
Wow.
I get goosebumps like thinking about music.
These songs.
There's like, I can't listen to music when I shave my legs in the shower. Because I get goosebumps all the time.
I mean, I don't get me wrong, music gives me goosebumps fairly often.
Yeah.
But
No, that song is so beautiful. This album is so amazing. I don't know. I feel like maybe you were there, but I got to see him do this live.
I
wasn't sure if you saw that show. A few years ago, it was my anniversary. We went. It was just mind-boggling.
I'm sure it was like so spiritual.
It
and,
was
like,
so
transformative.
amazing.
Yeah.
And it was so long. And talk about Stevie Wonder being a goof. He is so silly that once he got through this album, which, like, of course, was very long and beautiful, and, like, so, like, everybody was basically hugging each other by the end. But, like, he then just went totally off the rails and made a whole character for himself named DJ Tick Tick Boom. And, like, was just playing segments of other people's songs. But, like, he can do anything he wants, right?
It's Stevie Wonder.
But seeing this live was just insane. So beautiful. It's one of the best albums ever.
So, and then of course you have that, and it immediately segs from Love's in Need of Love Today to Having a Talk with God.
Yeah.
Which, when we're talking about like hard Stevie funk, this song fucks. Like, it's so. That's one where, like, you know, I listened to it. I've put it on this album a couple times over the years, and so obviously I was familiar with it. But this week, the first time I heard "Have a Talk with God," I was like, oh, right.
Yeah.
And then every time I went back to it this week, it just like got higher and higher, and I liked it more and more. And it's just like, because that's also one where that one's under 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, he does what he wants to do with that song, and then he moves on.
Yeah.
But if we're going to talk about, let's just do two things, because this is a magnum opus. He spent 3 years working on this, multiple producers, an army of musicians. Some say up to 30 different people were in the studio at some point or another. Let's just do two things. I want to talk about the singles, and then I want to talk about the rest. Because if we're going to talk about this album, you can't talk about Songs of the Key of Life without talking about Sir Duke.
Yeah.
One of the greatest fucking songs ever. And as we were talking about earlier, that horn riff that happens after the chorus, you know, and after you feel it all over, and then bam, And it's just like
Wait, which one?
the complexity. How many bars is that? Like the sheer complexity of that
also-
and the catchiness of it.
It doesn't repeat.
It doesn't
Yeah.
repeat.
It doesn't repeat any
It's true. I
parts of
never
its
thought
like
about that.
melodic sections. It just keeps going, and it's one of the most iconic musical sequences of all time.
So joyful. Like,
Yeah.
this album takes you through it emotionally. But
Oh God!
some of the tracks are just pure joy.
Like, and you go through Village Ghetto Land, which is a hard listen, but then you're rewarded, especially when you have Sir Duke and you follow it with I Wish.
Oh my
Are you
God,
rewarded though?
Yeah.
You get through Village Ghetto Land and then you get Contusion.
Oh, except the Funko Contusion. That
Okay,
goddamn,
don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Contusion is very funky.
Yeah.
However, it's like it took the parts of Sir Duke that work and then turned it up to like 120 and it was just like, just go guys, just fucking play whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
And it's a bit much.
But isn't she lovely?
Isn't she lovely?
Yeah.
Is one of the,
Outside of the Screaming Children.
which I can't stand. I hate that it's on there, especially because as we learned watching that documentary earlier today, it's not even his child. So the sounds at the end of the song are actually his daughter, like playing with a dresser in a hotel room.
Is that the
But-
one where she says, "You don't break Mama's glass"?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the screaming baby at the beginning was just because he wanted the sound of a child being born. So he like had a friend who knew someone who was pregnant and like got permission to like record the moment that the baby was born and started
Whoa.
crying.
That's cool.
So it's cool, but also it's just some random baby.
I mean, sure, but like, so is the baby on the cover of the Notorious B.I.G. album.
Okay, fair. Sure.
Okay, but then
Like, when
also,
you need a baby, you just
Yeah.
have to find a
You
baby.
just find a baby.
But the great thing was it for Village Ghetto Land? I believe it was. The story of Gary Bird, the co-writer with the lyrics on that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Village Ghetto Land, he wrote the arrangement and had like, so he called this friend of his who like lived hours away, was just like, left him a message, I guess.
And he, like, played him?
Played
Yeah.
him the song and just kind of like sang the melody with like, na 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 na, and then was like, do you think you couldn't write something? And like told him the basic concept for the song that he wanted. Then the guy like was working on the song, didn't hear from Stevie for 3 months, called him up and was like, hey, I'm ready for the song. Do you have it? He's like, yes. And then like read him the lyrics over the phone and like
Who was this
Stevie's
guy?
Gary Bird, one of the co-songwriters on it.
Stevie's assistant just like wrote the lyrics down, called him back 10 minutes later, was like, oh, I forgot to tell you, I added an extra verse to the arrangement. Can you write one for me? I'll call you back in 10 minutes. Legitimately called him back in 10 minutes, and he had quickly written another verse. Stevie was like, great, love it. And that was the
I
last
needed it
verse
because
of
I'm
the song.
recording this
Like,
right
I'm
now.
recording it right now, so you have 10 minutes to write it.
Oh my god, what a crazy...
Right. But then, I mean, let's also not forget Az is on there too.
I mean,
Yeah.
Az is actually, I think, one of the most covered Stevie Wonder
Absolutely.
songs. As far as like when we're looking
Absolutely.
at when we're like on YouTube looking at live performances, it's on like every like Stevie Wonder tribute show, someone does Az.
Yeah.
It's so
There's the
beautiful.
George Michael, Mary J. Blige
version,
collaboration that didn't need to happen, but it's funny because going through this week, I was like, wow, George Michael covered 4 Stevie Wonder songs at various points in his career.
Yeah.
Like, it was
They
clearly
won't go when I go. It's like, oh, thank
for
you,
example.
George.
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, Stevie did it better. Just put that out
As,
there. Yeah.
so there's like so many 1-2 punches on this album, but the fact that, I mean, If It's Magic is also beautiful, but like then it's followed by As Another Star,
Another star.
which is insane. Like, the fact that those 2 songs are next to each other is insane. Like, As is one of the most beautiful songs. It was the recessional at my wedding.
Oh.
It's so beautiful. It's super long. And then it goes into like maybe the danciest Stevie Wonders. I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
If you
I
can
mean,
say that, but,
it's pretty dancey.
It's
the
so
other day, I was
dancey.
done working out, and Taran came in home from work and just was shaking his groove thing all over the place, like, butt in your face kind of thing. It's just like, whoa, what are you doing? It's like, I'm listening to Another Star. I'm just like, oh, damn, okay.
So
That's a crazy song. It's so good.
one of my favorite memories with Stevie Wonder was, I don't remember why, but our aunts, Aunt and Uncle Bethan and Paul were staying at my parents' place, and I woke up one morning and my dad had put on Another Star, and my dad and Bethan were just like dancing around the kitchen, like making breakfast as
Aw.
Another Star played, and they were singing the la-las, and it was just like...
It's like, so this album was so important to our parents,
Mhm.
and when you think about it, like my dad will say, like, you can't imagine what it was like
In the
when this
moment.
came out.
Yeah.
It was just like, how did this happen? Like, it was the best thing to ever come out, and I totally believe that. Like, of course, like, we get it all at the same time, or
Right.
as you discover it,
Yeah.
I guess. But like, can you imagine this album coming out now? It's like if one of your favorite musicians had a few like really great albums before this, and then this thing came out, and you're just like, what? Like, it's the best present of all time.
So what you're saying is, like, he's like 70s Drake, is what you're saying.
I guess I don't listen to Drake.
Shh.
I know people like Drake.
Okay. I also, we kind of skipped past it, but my all-time, hands down, favorite Stevie Wonder song, unquestionably, is Knocks Me Off My Feet.
Oh,
I was
he's
hoping
being
you were going to say
romantic.
that. That
Yeah.
is such a beautiful
It
song.
is gorgeous. It also so much fun to sing.
Yes.
It is right in, like, any tenor. It is right in the comfort zone.
Yeah.
Even when it, like, pops up, there's the key change on the second chorus, like, it's just perfect. And
Yeah.
it's such... That's the sort of part where, like, every individual section of the song, because it's just, like, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, and then it repeats that. But each of those sections feels like it could be the chorus because it's so very much its own moment.
Right.
Like the pre-chorus of "Makes me weak and knocks me off my feet,"
Well, that's that trick he does.
and then
that
he
you
repeats
talked
it,
about.
"Knocks me off my feet, knocks me off my feet," and then he goes into the actual chorus,
Yeah.
"'Cause I don't wanna bore," and it's just like, that's speaking of songs that give me goosebumps.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
he pulls out the like full real chorus for the first time,
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh god damn
And it's
it.
cheesy as hell, but it's so
Right, but he
beautiful.
makes it work because the tones on this album are so all over the place that when he gets to something like that, it doesn't feel cheesy. It's not like one of his later date albums where it's just like a fucking ballad after ballad or a mid-tempo
Yeah.
slog. Like, you go through this. Like, I can buy that because that also follows right after I Wish, one of that funky bass line that just comes in and rides and just overtakes everything.
Well, and when you're talking
Yeah.
about joy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like that's the thing is a lot of the ballads, it's just like him and a piano, and it's sure, but here there's the swelling strings, and you can just hear that like it's cheesy, but it's not cheesy because he's not just singing words. Like you
Yeah.
can tell he means every
Every-
single moment
Yeah.
of this song.
And you can everyone can relate. It's so beautiful. Seeing this one live, it was like maybe the first, like everyone was singing this whole show,
Right.
but this was like everyone was singing. And it was a great moment for me because I was singing and the woman next to me turned and went, oh. Like I was doing really well.
I love that.
Right, and then, like, as much as the singles are great, also, there's so many other songs I don't think get as much buzz. Honestly, Black Man, even though it's 8 minutes long, that groove is just unbelievable. It's just so
It earns
good.
those 8 minutes, though. Because honestly, the outro
Yeah.
with like the school children chanting, that doesn't start till minute 5.
Yeah.
You know? And up until that point, he's using every second to, like, build the groove and tell the exact story that he wants to tell here, and it's such a great groove.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
bordering on one of the best grooves on this album. If it didn't have like As and Another Star to
Like
And I
compete
Wish.
against, right?
And I Wish.
Oh,
and
then randomly the fucking Tin Pan Alley pop that is Ebony Eyes. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
It's
Also,
yeah.
the like funky groove of All Day Sucker.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
There's
Yeah.
so, like, we could talk about every single song, right?
I
Like,
almost wanted us to just go through song by song and talk about all of them because, like, this album is that good.
But and I think that,
Ordinary Pain, like, when that I don't know who that woman is, when she comes
that
in.
amazing backing vocalist.
So good.
Yeah.
Ordinary
Pastime
Pain,
Paradise to a degree.
of course.
Which, like,
Honestly,
that one's a little rough because I can't separate it
from
Right.
Coolio.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
But-
none of us can.
But when you're just looking at from like a production standpoint, when the Hare Krishna and the We Shall Overcome is coming in on the end and it's just building and then it just like drops off, like it's so eerie, it's so impactful.
Yeah, I don't even know, like, the Es Una Historia song, and I Am Singing song.
I'm singing.
Talk about another joy moment.
Yeah,
When
for
he finally goes into I Am Singing, you're like,
you sure are.
Yeah.
you feel like every flower just bloomed. It's
Right,
so
yeah.
beautiful.
I love how often he sings in other languages.
Yeah.
And in songs that he wrote himself, because it happens, not a ton, but like
Enough.
6 or 7
Right, yeah,
times
exactly.
where you're like, yes.
And it's not
Sing to me
nonsense
in
where it's
fake
like
Italian.
Lionel Richie.
Right. And that's the biggest thing. We're like, for me, Song is the Key of Life, the reason why we're talking about it with such joy and verve is that he meant this as his opus and it absolutely worked because, quite frankly, this is everything you've loved about basically every era of Stevie brought together in one place. You could listen to this album straight through and be convinced it's a standalone greatest hits album. Like,
Yeah.
that's how strong
Yeah.
and powerful
Absolutely.
it is. Like, the moods and tones and styles that's there. So for me, I don't think it's a real question. I think the only real question is number 2 and 3 at this point. I don't know about you guys. My
Yeah.
vote's still Intervisions for number 2 and Talking Book at number 3, but at this point, like, I've had such a good time talking about Songs of the Key of Life. I don't care.
I don't
like,
care
it's
about
like-
anything anymore.
Exactly.
Put
yeah.
characters at number 2.
Number 2 characters! Wait a second. Wait, what? What? No.
Yes, Songs of the Key of Life is 1.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you had Talking Book at 3, right?
I had Talking Book at 2.
Yeah.
Intervisions at
right.
3.
Okay.
But again, I am pretty
It comes
happy.
down to
I know it comes down to me, and I hate when this happens.
I know. Get the deciding vote. Be bold.
We're ranking albums, and because we're ranking albums, I think Intervisions goes at 3.
Okay.
Okay.
So in that case, of this episode that we are doing, we have at number 4, fulfilling this' first finale. At number 3, we have Intervisions. At number 2, we have Talking Book. And the number 1 Stevie Wonder album is My Cherie Amour. Surprise! Ah! No, it's Songs of the Key of Life.
No, the computer!
No, it is Songs of the Key of Life. And guys, listen, we obviously had a lot to say. We have a happy hour mini-sode right after this where we get to talk about all the other minute things from those early albums to his worst song to just whatever. It's a happy hour mini-sode. It goes as long as we want it to. But most importantly, though, Nia O'Reilly Amandes.
You got it.
Thank you so
Everyone's
much
hands are in the air.
for being here. Seriously, I'm so
Thank
glad
you.
you're here.
This
Yeah.
is so fun.
Exactly. You were bold and you had strong opinions and you stuck by them. And it was just great. It was so fantastic. Taran, as always.
You're welcome.
As always. Yeah. This was so great.
I mean,
this.
yeah. Honestly, this was like one of my most fun episodes.
Yeah.
Like listening, recording. This
All
was
of it.
such a blast.
And-
because Stevie Wonder, as we've said so many times, just has so much joy.
Yeah.
And even just talking about him, we're just so happy.
And we can't wait to tell you about the pasta hair incident. And you're going to hear that in the Happy Hour mini-sode. In the meantime, though, do us a favor. Like us, rank us, find us on Facebook and Twitter. I say these things every time, but if you actually do it, that would be awesome. It really, really would. If you rate us on iTunes, it's great because it gives visibility and other people see it. And you want other people to see it. You're the cool person in the know. You want to bring it to all your friends at your middle school, right? So, anywho, you got that Chartographers lunch back in our merch store.
Oh, that's real.
It's not.
I really wish it was. Just our animated faces looking real goofy.
Animated lunch packs.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
All right. In the meantime, though, keep on listening. You know that we'll be having a good one, guys.
Heat of the I could myself.
3, 2, 1. Talking book. Are you kidding me?